right, where arts and adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with Todd Oberndorfer.
Todd Oberndorfer.
Todd Oberndorfer. We say it a little different in Ogden. It's Oberndorfer.
That sounds like a little bit of like...
I have an accent.
East Side, Oberndorfer.
I'm Terrace. It's Terrace side.
What am I then? Like bench side?
I don't know, but my mom said she caught that where you're like, so Todd's not Todd to the top anymore?
Nope. Yep. On request. Getting paid.
He did get...
There's like something there. It'll apply at some point, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're hosts for the greatest podcast in all the land. No offense, Aric. That's right. He's quiet. All right, so jumping right in, I guess you can subscribe, by the way, on YouTube. Arts and Adventure. I want to tease, Todd, if you don't mind. I want to tease the audience with the adventure news that's to come, because we have two wonderful guests and we'll talk about them. Do you have arts to talk about?
Yeah, I got a couple things.
Do you want to tease your arts stories?
Well, I'm going to tease a little bit about the Ogden Christmas light parade.
Oh, that's good.
You know, I
that's
thought we'd
good.
chat about that.
Okay.
And then what's my other tease? I think it's holiday markets.
Holiday markets. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Okay, so the adventure updates will be Bullfrog Out of Water, When Work Parties Go Wrong, the Clone Wars Winter Collection, and Take Your Little Brother to Work Day, parentheses, so he can fall 1,000 feet down a mountain, in parentheses.
Are we choosing? Are we choosing some of those, or are we going to hear?
They're pretty quick. I'll go fast. Yeah. Okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah, but thanks for asking.
I want to hear about that one right now.
Like Take Your Brother to Work Day?
Yeah. Let's just start with that.
I got to do work. Okay.
It sounds horrible, though.
I got to do work on this. In other words, I wasn't ready. Let's see if I can bring this up on
this new podcast. We got to keep each other on our toes.
No, I appreciate this. Okay, so I just brought this up here. This is a film by a professional skier, Nikolai Schirmer, who decides to bring his brother to work.
Brother, back in the game.
I'm Severin, the littlest Schirmer bro.
Bring your brother to work week.
With Severin, it's just like, I know, like, he trusts me.
Bros, on top.
So all of a sudden, there's like this huge responsibility on me.
Pro skier.
And I know our mom. I do not want to kill her little baby boy.
Oh, yes. Come on, little brother. He's killing it. Oh, that's good. Oh, shit.
Oh,
shit.
He's tomahawking.
Oh, shit. Stop.
He's tomahawking down the side of a gorgeous mountain. This face is beautiful. It says, Bring Your Brother to Work Week is the name of this short film. It's sponsored by Neurona.
Bring Your Brother to Work Week. I have
yeah. It's about 13 minutes. I watched the whole thing earlier today. It's absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend it. The brother fell for 54 seconds. Almost a full minute straight. He fell, tomahawked. That's one, a really big mountain, and two, a really, really long fall.
And everything turned out okay. And
you got to watch the show. You got to watch the show. It's called Take Your Little Brother to Work Day. It's on YouTube. It's free. Anybody can download it and watch it. And they're, I don't know where they're from, but they're the mountains are gorgeous. It's wonderful.
You'll see. Oh, okay,
wonderful. The best ending you could hope for.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's stunning. The scenery, everything. And I think it's more like a blog. Like he brings a film crew with him, but it's kind of like a blog for his YouTube. And it's what they hike and what they ski down is unreal.
That's awesome.
So
what's Neurona?
It's a brand of clothing that's high end, like Arc'teryx. We used to carry a little bit of it at Gear 30, but
I don't think I know Neurona.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
That's a great story. Thanks for starting that.
Anytime. All right, bringing in our guests this week. We have representing arts, Angelika Brewer, Ogden City Poet Laureate. Where's the things? Are you cheering for yourself? Yeah, cheer.
Yay! There's the clapping outside. I heard that. Yeah.
I have applause somewhere. There it is. Okay, there it is. All right, bring it down. A little much. Whoa.
Okay, no.
Yeah, bring it down.
So bad.
Representing adventure, Aric Manning with the Trails Foundation in Northern Utah. Aric Manning. All right, let's go.
The mic's not on, boss.
That was on purpose. Really? You can't hear anything? What? Give me a
got
break.
punked.
Are you serious? Let's try this.
I kind of love this, actually.
Yeah, you know why? Because he's. Give me something in there.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
How come that's not working? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're 4.
Hello. Thumb.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Am I just hearing you out?
Yeah, I think you're just hering.
Oh.
Oh,
I
probably.
don't think you're hearing him over
Okay.
the headphones.
Now try.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
I'm really
Better.
here now.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now
there
that
we
it
go.
works, turn it off.
Yeah.
There
Can
we
we start over? Like from the top.
Okay, yeah.
Like
okay,
from
now
the
introducing
beginning.
from the adventure side of things,
No, I meant
Aric
way
Manning.
back.
Oh my God, way back. All right, this is where Arts Adventure. Some with the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show.
Let's go back to Todd's name because there was some gems.
You wanted to chime in, didn't you?
Many
It
times.
hurt.
And Brandon looked at me like
It
once,
hurt.
and I'm looking at him like, you've got me on mute.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's okay.
It wasn't official mute. It was unofficial mute. I had everything down.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He said best podcast in the land. Sorry, Eric, and he wouldn't let me reply.
Planned it.
I thought it was
I'm not
a deliberate
dumb.
motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, okay, Eric, should we start with you then?
Yeah.
I think I've been pretty disruptive.
Let's start with you. You are 1.5 beers in on this evening here tonight.
Well, that's good to preface that.
Wow.
We need to know these things because I was like 3 beers in and should have mentioned that a couple podcasts ago. But Aric Manning, Trails Foundation, Northern Utah. So when you were 3, third grade, 4th grade, not 3,
was
but let's
3?
go 3rd grade or 4th grade.
Okay.
Did you dream of becoming in charge of a nonprofit?
No. I didn't even know what that was. I don't know if I was 3 or 3rd or 4th grade. That was a pretty big gap
He's
there.
giving
but
you a range, is what he's doing.
Yeah,
there.
I like that
anywhere
range.
between age 3 and 3rd or 4th grade. So no dreams of
No,
being
not
a
till like
nonprofit?
5th grade. 5th grade, things started really kicking for me.
I understand. What did you
The
think you would
do-good portion of you kicked in.
Yeah. It's like, maybe I should help others.
Nothing but
No, when I was in 3rd or
selfishness.
4th grade, it was all soccer. Pro soccer.
all the time? You're doing that tonight.
I should, I'm coaching tonight, but I should be in the World Cup right now, according to my 3rd and 4th grade self.
Wait, so actually the beers are sort of drowning some sorrows.
Not really.
Because-
I'm 51, so if someone had me on their team now, they would definitely.
What's the oldest player in the World Cup? Do you know?
Nope.
30, late 30s, right? You think?
40.
There might be
maybe
somebody
40?
There's some 40s. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
And some of the African nations don't have birth certificates, apparently. So they could be older or younger. And that's the
we
truth.
don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. But no, nonprofit,
Nonprofit, nothing.
no.
Okay.
Not even 5 years ago.
Okay, so what do you do for Trails Foundation Northern Utah?
Not enough, to be honest. So I'm the executive director. We don't go by ED anymore. So
Is that an age joke or
no,
Okay.
no.
I just hear those commercials all the time on
Yeah,
the radio.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want anything called back to us. No, I mean, I'd like to think we do a good job in Northern Utah. I mean, primarily Weber County, but everything trails, we try and do what we can. So grant writing, education, etiquette, funding, building, maintaining, just everything we can do.
What's the hardest part about being the executive director for Trails Foundation Northern Utah?
Man, I didn't know we were going this direction.
Just talking about your work.
I know. It's after hours. Thank you so much. No, I mean,
We'll keep it
really,
personal after this.
it's just, I think anybody can relate to this in business in general, but nonprofits, just funding. That's the hardest part because there's so many things you want to do, and you have so much momentum. Obviously, we have an amazing community on all levels, but everything boils down to funding. So the questions get asked all the time. You know what you should do? You know what would be cool? You know what would be great? And in my head, I'm like, yes, yes, and yes. But unfortunately, so much does come down to funding.
So what you're saying is unlimited funding, you don't know how to spend it. Like there's literally so much money coming in.
Oh, we could easily figure it out. Projects are expensive. Let's get that straight.
I think that I don't think people know just how expensive trails are.
They are.
I
So
think the first time I heard you talking about that, I'm like, that can't be right.
No,
but
that's-
it can. Like, it makes sense.
well, because there's more to it than a shovel right? And that's what people think, oh, I can build a trail for less. But I mean, I had a meeting today that we need to do like stream alteration permits, NEPA studies, all this stuff before you even do anything. So there's costs there, there's engineering. So kind of on an average, you look at, natural surface trails can range in of $10 a linear foot, right? In that area, up or down, one way or another. So, I mean, that's a lot of money for the distance, right? And that's just obviously like building new trail. There's maintenance, but everything's expensive.
So how do you make money? How do you bring money in to spend it? Spend all the dollars?
Not well enough right now, but obviously our membership campaign's huge, and that's been going. We just started our 3rd year.
You started that.
Yeah. Yep.
Good job.
3 years ago. That was kind of, and I say I started it, but I think with the organization being around for 27 years, there's ideas that have always floated. It's just a matter of getting things going, right? Bandwidth is a word that we hear too much, but, it is. It's like people, time, money. So our membership campaign's huge. The donation side of things is huge. Grant writing, grants. And then we have now.
Did you have grant writing training before this, or is this the first time you've ever written grants when you came to work with Trails Foundation?
So when I was in high school, I didn't like English, writing papers, and I wish I would have liked it more.
Funny, we have somebody. We might have someone who can help you on this.
But, grant writing, there's a nuance to it. It's not as easy as, writing stuff. I mean, you have to have budgets and letters of support and, everything in the sun, and you got to figure when you're writing a grant, you're not the only person doing it. So how do you draw attention to yours and make yours move to the top of the list? So
you put like stars and smiley faces.
I use colored paper and Axe body spray.
Is that
on my
body
paper?
spray?
Yeah, I just spray it that way.
Todd, is that how you do it? Because Todd's in this world as well.
I would count negative points
You would?
with the X.
What flavor?
I would.
Because there's different flavors. You just got to nail it right. Like there's probably like Black Lagoon, Midnight Love, like different flavors, right?
I'm thinking it's bro number 1.
Okay.
Bro number 3. I do not like that one at all.
At all? I'm going to get rid of that one. That one's good at the club, though. That one's really good.
Bro number 3.
Oh, he knows these things. Okay.
No, but we do.
No, but it's all those little things you need to stand out in a grant.
And it's hard. It is. It's like it is. It comes down to, making it stand out, making it so people understand it. It helps different community, youth, actively aging, active transportation, environment. I mean, there's so many buzz words, and those change a lot. But I think, realistically, when people put in for a grant, all of them, most of the time, are deserving, right? So that's the hard part. So I would never want to be on a committee. Like RAMP does a great job here, right? But those committees, that would be hard because you get so many submissions for different dollar amounts, and to make that decision to, realistically approve a project, or if you don't get funding, that project's dead. That would be tough. So no pressure to anybody that listens that approves grants.
Can you?
And for me, like my experience with grants as well is the fact that such a big percentage of that is knowing the right people.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Matching funds
for real?
because it works against you. You have to be good with people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that's something you've never been very good at.
That's another strike, Axe body spray and talking to people. So
But it's
anyway, I'm hiring
relationship-
somebody.
Yeah. Actually, right now,
Yeah.
you're going to close things out with a call.
Yeah. Just comment on Brandon's post on this topic. But then our two big fundraisers. We do our annual author event, which was hugely successful. This last one we had at the Timber Mine. Nate Schweber came in from New York. He writes for the Times. Just wrote a book. Unbelievable speaker. I mean, it's we've all been to author events that sometimes aren't engaging, and this one was unbelievable. So we're setting up our next author event for next year. And then the granddaddy of them all, the one I'm probably most excited about because it will be a legacy event, is the Northern Utah Trail Fest that we put on with Goal Foundation and Weber County Parks and Rec. So that we just had in October. The other guest, I'm not going to say any names just in case, but was there and had a huge piece to the puzzle. To that. So that's our fundraising. But the bad thing is, you never know what it's going to bring in. Donations could be down. You won't get a grant. When you're doing an event, you don't know if you can hit your numbers. So again, you're budgeting with kind of, living on a prayer.
So what do you
Back
do
to
with the
Jovi.
money? You just, with like Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
it's all trails, or are there other things you do besides build
Hats.
trails? Hats?
Hats. Well, we have a small budget that we put together, and we try and increase that if we have some swag, hats, shirts, the fun stuff. But it's marketing, right? You want people out there wearing cool stuff. We're not there to Patagonia, but we're working there. But most of it goes into planning. Obviously we have a very small staff. I'm the only full-time employee. We do have 3 now part-time staff members that are absolutely incredible. And I will say this openly, without them, this organization would be in a lot of trouble because they're fantastic.
We tried to get all 3 of them actually before you.
They found out I was coming. Yeah. And they're like, well, Brandon says, bring people. I'm like, well, both my friends are busy.
Both.
We were
They
going to
both
say
are washing their hair. I don't know how that happened.
we were not going to say you were the 4th choice, but
Well, I think last
They
time
were
I
all
was
busy.
last time, 4th choice is better than last choice. I think last time I was on, it was almost like, who's walking by? Is that Eric? Bring him in. Bring him in. And then it was like, wait a minute, what about that guy? We'll bring Eric.
No, that is not. This is only the 3rd episode of the new Ogden Arts and Adventure Show, and we wanted you
Yeah.
sooner than later.
Okay.
So, because you,
Everybody's gone for the holiday. I get it. It's almost Thanksgiving. I get it. Who's a loser who has no friends or family? Hey, we got him.
it may or may not be true. But, yeah. Okay, so you spend the money on trails and swag, I guess.
Trails planning. There's a lot that goes on. We, like I said, a lot of it is operational for the staff. We use, that money as well to match grants. That's one thing when you write a grant, it's not like you're just asking for, $20,000. They want to know you've got $20,000 to match it with, right? So you have to, in order to get big grants, you've got to have money to show that you can, like an outdoor rec grant, you can get up to $300,000, but you've got to have $150,000. So if you only have $50,000, you can write for $100,000.
Wow.
So the more money you can write for more. So you're doubling it. So the money that comes in, like membership campaigns and all the fundraising and stuff, obviously we got to pay the bills. We have rent, which TFNU is looking for a new space, if anybody out there knows that. So it's a shameless plug for us. But, you have utilities, rent, staff in order to get all that stuff done. But you also need it to try and double,
We have a picnic
grants.
table if you get kicked out and need a place, just so
Hey.
you know. Where did you get your familiarity with the trails? Tell everyone about how you started on the trails, because you run a lot.
I was a runaway at a young age and needed a place to stay. There was some,
Todd,
found
do you
solace in the trails.
Yeah. Do you remember
Old story.
So Goonies, when they are threatening to take his hand and they're going to chop it up in the chopper, and he's like, "When I was
He's
in
being really
3rd grade."
honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
really, really honest, and that's where we are right now in this podcast.
Without a chopper.
Eric's going to be very honest about this
We're going to put his hand in the blender.
in the blender. Yeah.
that sounds bad. Vitamix or Ninja?
Let's just call it a new segment of the show. The Vitamix.
Put them in the
segment.
blender.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a sponsor. Get a Vitamix on this
Hey,
shelf right
that's
here.
a good idea.
Let's have some
Vitamix are not
margaritas.
cheap. That would be a really good sponsor.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that's
All
my
right.
dream.
You're in the blender.
Well, no, I grew up with my dad. I was really close with my dad, and outdoors was it was just something we did, and that was the originality of me being just outdoors and enjoying that. But then a friend of mine started doing trail running, and I thought he was crazy, and joined
But you're a
him.
runner because you soccer, right?
Okay, let's get this straight. I was a soccer player, but I hated running. When you're
Is that
playing
'cause you
soccer,
sprint,
you're not
right?
running. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're playing soccer, you're chasing a ball. So
No,
it's
at least
different.
there's no running in soccer, so that's good. Just
Exactly.
stand around.
But you don't realize it, right? You don't. It's like a cat chasing a red, laser beam, right? They're just
okay.
having fun. So it's the
Okay.
same thing. So I
Yeah.
I hated running.
Did you run with like a ball in front of you on the trails to get you to go down the trail at first?
Now
Sort
that's,
of-
that would show some skill. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
No,
Yeah.
but challenge accepted. I'll try that. Yeah, that'll
I'd
be
like
fun.
to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't know. I think trails mean something different for everybody. It could be, like me growing up with my dad, being outside in nature. It could be, families putting down electronics to get outside to be together. It could be where people go to recharge. Everybody has their thing, and it may not be trails. There's all kinds of stuff. But I think for me, that's what it was, is just, I love being outside. I love to see where I can go without a car, and me, a bike. I like to see where my feet can take me. right? Because
Yeah.
you can see some pretty incredible places that, for me, I think, I'm like, I see things that unfortunately a lot of people don't see.
I think the elephant in the room here, though, really is when's the podcast coming back?
What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. When's the podcast coming back?
We can come back to that question. I've got a question for each of us really quick.
Okay, yeah, let's hear.
And so, you're old. Let's be honest. You're getting older, right?
You are Brandon.
And,
He's pointing to Brandon.
Yeah.
No,
If you're audio,
we're about the same age, and so
All three of us
this
are
is
about
a
the same.
this is a genuine question. Yeah,
like, not me.
Looking around.
Stranger danger.
we have one to balance out.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Curve.
And so, if you had been born post electronics, do you think that you would have the same draw to nature as we do, being born pre-electronics? Right?
How are we supposed to know that, though? I don't know.
It's just a gut. What
Yeah.
would your gut tell you? What kind of answer?
I would
what do you
actually
think?
say yes, because I was pretty active as a child, and I never ever got into Atari.
And Atari was there for you.
2600. Pong. Joust.
I
Didn't
have
care.
those.
I didn't care.
Combat.
I didn't care.
I was.
You
I'm not
had
talking
you
just
had to
video
rent
games,
it,
it's just
and that's the equivalent is what I could come up
Yeah,
with.
no,
But yeah.
2600 would be the
But I
equivalent.
was pretty active as far as playing outside, sports, and G.I. Joe, pretending that I was G.I. Joe.
Keep going. Keep going.
Did you camouflage, and parachute pants?
Yeah,
Right?
that's what
Okay.
you meant.
That's-
Yeah, what do
Todd,
you
you?
think? What kind of work are you around?
I would say, yeah, I'm very similar. I was always outside. I was never inside as a kid. I would be the guy that always got in trouble for coming home late, or I loved being outside, and I just have this fascination.
But
with
that
the
was because
outdoors.
I don't know if your parents did this, but it was like, okay, come home when it's dark, right? And so we'd go skateboarding, and we just come home when it's dark.
I never skateboarded, but yeah, same thing. Because you have cell phone to say, hey, when do I need to be home?
Yeah.
Text everything.
We were
else.
actually pretty good at having the clock in our
Yeah.
head. It's like, all right, be home by 8. And you're like, you were in with like 10, 15 minutes usually.
Yeah.
So
No, I think I would have been outside. I struggle to this day being inside, regardless of what it is. I have a stand-up desk at work. I can't sit still. Yeah,
Do you
Todd?
keep your stand-up decks only up, or do you ever?
it's funny. I have one at home and one at work, both stand-up, and I don't think I've lowered either one. And I've had both of them for multiple years.
That's impressive. My new job done in Salt Lake, it has one of those adjustable.
Yep.
And it's my first adjustable, right? And so I am still getting used to it. But so like for the first month, kept it down. I think I've just been used to that for so long. And so I think it was like probably about the 5th week, I raised it up, and now it stayed. Like I really like, and I found
you stand the whole time?
I found the right place for it. I stand all the time now.
it's really good.
Yep.
Yeah, but then when I'm working from home, I don't have the facilities. I mean, I could purchase a little thing, but I haven't at home. But I really look forward to that standing part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you work sitting or standing?
Usually sitting. However, I worked a desk job for most of my early adulthood, and I had a standing desk doing that that I like to stand at because I had the option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? What do you think about that same question as far as electronics go?
I grew up in a kind of weird transitional period where my early childhood cell phones weren't so much a thing. And then as I got older, the internet and cell phones started picking up. So my early childhood, I spent tons of time outside, and I think I was kind of conditioned to be outside because of that. I always like to walk, though. I would go on walks. I would just leave my house all day long and just go walk around the whole city. No destination. I would just go walk, and then come home when it got dark. So that's just what I did, even after the technology was there.
What
That
did you
was kinda
think
what I
about
did.
when you were walking?
I'm a daydreamer. Like, I'm a creative person. And so a lot of those times when I'm by myself or in nature, just enjoying some peace and quiet, I'm daydreaming and coming up with ideas for art or for stories I want to write or poems or whatever. It's always kind of been like that, I think.
Angelika Brewer, Ogden City Poet Laureate. I'm a little disappointed you don't just talk in rhyme all the time.
I could try. Like Dr. Seuss.
Like,
Or Eminem.
yeah. Or
That's a
yeah.
funner option.
Or
I
that.
guess.
Yeah, like Dr. Seuss. I like Dr. Seuss. Yeah.
Yeah, the trees are fun in Dr. Seuss books. I
So
like
you
that.
mentioned, Angelika, that I think it was in your acceptance speech or something at the Mayor's Awards, where you said you actually, and I don't think anyone else has put this much thought into becoming Ogden City Poet Laureate, but you tried. You had a plan, and this is what I'm going to do. Like, why was that such a passionate goal of yours?
I think
Domination? Is it domination?
World
Poetry world domination.
no, I had been doing a lot of what I'm doing.
There's a lot of
now.
competition out there.
Yeah. Everybody wants to.
And
be
you just don't
the
support
Ogden
each
City
other at
Poet
all.
Laureate.
Yeah.
Duh.
It's a hot position.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, I had kind of been doing a lot of the things that I'm doing in my position now already for a long time. And I just kind of stayed behind the scenes. So I would set up events and I would plan these events and I would find the funding and I'd find the venue and then I'd put a bunch of other people on stage. I do a lot of work with schools. So I was doing a lot of that already, going into schools, teaching kids how to write poetry, setting up events for them to go and perform in front of people. So I was already doing a lot of that. The Poet Laureate position, I think, gave me opportunity to elevate some of that stuff and give more opportunities to people, expose more people to poetry, because I think that a lot of people don't even realize that they do like poetry.
Well, and kids, you said you go to schools when you're a kid. Poetry is almost a bad word. Like, nobody wants to hear poetry. But so how do you present that to kids when you go there?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember being in school and I always liked to write. And so I took it as a challenge, poetry, but a lot of people don't. And I remember being super bored by all of the old dead poets that they were trying to teach me about, you know? But the real...
You were not a member of that society.
No, I was like, no, I don't understand.
Shout out to live poets.
Yes. Amen. Yes. Well, because though you take teenagers, for example, right? And then you're trying to show them Shakespeare and they're reading about a world that they don't live in. Like, that is not what the world looks like.
I still
anymore.
have my high school lines memorized from Shakespeare. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I only use them randomly.
Yeah. I don't use them at all. So you should be the Poet Laureate.
Oh,
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I'd
Shakespeare lines.
have to try.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll teach you how I did it. And then, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and so I think presenting it to kids in a way that is current and more relatable is helpful. For example, spoken word poetry seems to really resonate with youth, and so that's what I primarily use as an introduction. It's more similar to music than it is to the poetry that a lot of people have in their head when they hear the word poetry. So I think that resonates well with youth. Also, just talking to them about topics that are relatable to them,
How much has hip hop helped poetry?
Poetry wouldn't exist the way that it does now without hip hop and rap music. And they kind of have always gone hand in hand, like that's what rap music is it's poetry with music behind it. Really though, that's what all lyrics are.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I say a lot of people actually enjoy poetry. They just don't realize it because they've only been exposed to a very specific type of poetry, whether that be listening to it, reading it, or writing it. So I kind of want to change that for people.
Todd, who's your favorite rapper?
I don't know. But here's
But anyway,
that was my we're gonna let that slide. But I did have a thought. I remember back in early high school, having an assignment. I don't remember if it was in a drama class or an English class, but it was essentially taking a familiar song that meant a lot to you and basically speaking it instead of singing it, removing that whole side of it and just trying to speak the song without slipping into, sort of the musicality side of it. And it was such a good assignment. We dove more into the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, and which people listen to their music from the lyrics. The lyrics is what drives them and, they connect with. And with, for me, a lot of it is just background textures, and I'm not looking at necessarily every word from it. But I remember that assignment was just like, wow, it was just another way of looking at the words itself. And who's my favorite rapper? I don't know if I have one, to tell you the
The
truth.
fact that you remember that assignment says something about the assignment.
Yeah, it was a good assignment, and it's true. Yeah, no, it definitely stood out. I think it. Oh, see, that was pretty nice. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Angelika, you make a lot of money doing this. So that's why you
The
jumped
laureate
into-
part?
Yeah, the laureate part. That's why
Here was
you
the
jumped
transition into
it.
the laureate part of
Yeah.
what you do. So, do you remember when you first learned, or heard even the word poet laureate, and the connection to what that meant, to that position meant? I wasn't familiar with what a laureate was until probably,
I still can't
I don't
spell
know,
it.
maybe 10 years
I had
ago.
to
if
look
that.
it up on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
So you heard it. You heard the word, and you looked it up.
Well, yeah, and I had heard other people be called that before, right? But I think something I didn't realize, or because I actually applied the term before as well. And when I applied the first time, I think I was...
It was my vote. I didn't think you were ready.
Yeah, right. And thank you for that.
No, that wasn't me.
It would be okay if it was.
This was your time. I just felt like this was your time.
Yeah, we're very in sync, in tune, you and I, Todd. Yeah, but I
This
think
is why I
thought
love
of
Todd, by the way.
I thought of it more as a position the first time around, and I came to realize later that it's more of a recognition. It's a recognition for your work in your field. And at that time, I had done work, but I hadn't done the level and the amount of work that I have done now. And so now, I don't know, I think I just view it differently. I don't know if that answered your question, but...
I don't know. He's drinking beers.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not like there's a specific list of requirements for what you do during your term. It's
You
pretty
represent the
loose.
city, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you do.
Yeah, well, kind of to encompass it all, I am supposed to promote literary arts, advocate for literary arts in the city. They did want me to continue visiting schools. I was already doing that, like I said, so just keep doing that and do it more. But other than that, it really is just like
But it's new to Ogden. You're only the third, right?
the third or fourth. I think third. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think so.
I hope there
Third.
wasn't
Was Rogar
four. That
one?
First one's going to feel bad.
Rogar,
Yeah.
I think Rogar was one. And then you replaced
Abe.
Abe. And then you.
Yeah.
Abe served twice, though, but because of COVID.
Yeah. And I actually communicate with Abe sometimes too, and we do some projects
I
together.
was hoping you were going to
every
say
once
telepathically, but that's...
in a while.
No, they speak through poetry.
that's only
That's the
Todd
only
and
way
me.
they can talk to
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. But yeah, because Abe and I also come from very different like realms of
Yeah.
poetry. He
Yeah.
does a very different type of poetry than the poetry that I do.
Okay, describe your type of poetry.
I do a lot of spoken word. I also write page poetry. I can write all of the kind of, familiar types of poetry.
Like the rhyming poetry that Brandon likes. Like
Yeah.
his poetry rhymes or haikus.
Mine does mostly rhyme, but sometimes not.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I like the page poetry. I haven't heard that term before.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
It's basically, so spoken word poetry is intended to be heard. And so often you don't ever see a written copy of spoken
Oh,
word poetry,
gotcha. Okay,
page poetry, anything that you read instead of
Can
hearing.
you guess whose famous musician's poetry book I have?
Tupac.
Ooh, good guess. No.
Okay.
No. Female. Famous musician, female. I have her poetry book.
Taylor Swift.
Not
T Swift.
no.
You have everything else from Taylor.
I have everything else. I haven't been able to pick up her poetry book yet. Yeah.
Right on.
And I didn't get tickets for her concert either. So the
Most
story.
people
Nobody
did. Yeah.
I'm still
that's
on
the
hold.
joke.
I'm
Yeah.
still waiting. We'll see.
My circle's still circling.
Jewel, have you read any of her poetry? It's really good.
No, I haven't, but I would like
Yeah.
to.
Trailer Swift. Somebody said that. I thought that was brilliant.
my God.
Wow.
That was a good one. It was like at
That's so bad.
She did a roast, and she was one of the
Oh,
roasters
okay. Yeah,
too.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
somebody said that to her. And
Trailer Swift.
oh, they said plenty of other things.
yeah.
I like Jewel. too.
Jewel, she's
Yeah,
great. I saw her in the Bravenel, actually.
yeah. She was quite the poet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I imagine she still is. I don't know.
Anyway, there's that.
So we've got a few phone calls since you guys have been talking. I've been answering the hotline.
Yeah, I
What do people
appreciate
wanna
that.
know?
By the way, yeah.
Couple questions is laureate. Like we've talked about, we don't know how to spell it, but what's the definition of it, right?
It's essentially, I couldn't tell you like the
Webster's
Webster,
version.
Yeah. But
Comes from the root word.
yeah.
Lori
Something.
and the Jeep Cherokee laureate.
Yeah. What they said. You guys got it exactly right. It's basically recognition for excellence in your field. And so it's a pretty, it doesn't feel
So
real.
that's why we don't know what it means.
No.
No, this was the callers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, callers.
The callers.
The caller. Yeah, we knew.
Well, so I'm sitting here and I'm listening. And I'm absolutely blown away and fascinated. Like this should be all one show with her. And, like, I could just be outside listening.
It's the Arts and Adventure Show.
No,
Eric.
this is incredible. Like listening to this is absolutely amazing. So when you talk about terms, like you're a big deal.
That's what they say.
No, you are. Like you're representing like Ogden itself, number one on anything is legit. But in the art side, come on. Like
It's big.
unreal.
It
No,
feels
it's
surreal. to
I'm
me.
over here going, I shouldn't.
And the
be in
weird thing is-
trailer.
That comes from our Trails Laureate, so that means a
Yeah.
lot.
We don't use that word, and I think we might pick it up. I mean, I'm not going to take it, but no, I mean, you're legit, right?
Yes, and you two did a event together.
We did. It was so much fun. But we didn't actually communicate with each other directly.
Yeah.
We were both doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I worked on the Northern Utah Trails Fest. It was so much fun. My poetry collective and I set up a big old booth, a cabana, as we called it.
Oh.
It was primarily for kids, but anybody could come. We just did art and writing. We made journals. We did all sorts of fun stuff all weekend. We did a hike and listen poetry segment for the Trails Fest. That was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout. We even had this one guy. I loved this story. I thought this was so fun. This guy came when he came to check in for the hike and listen. He was like, I don't listen to poetry. I don't read it. I don't write it. I have no knowledge of it. But I want to try new stuff. So he came with us and he really enjoyed it. He had a lot of fun. He was interacting with it all, and it was so good. That was one of my favorite events I've ever done. Seriously, it was awesome.
Well, you were amazing because I heard nonstop about what you put on because I was doing stuff, so I wasn't able to participate. But the
Yeah.
journal stuff was a huge hit. I mean, I heard about that for a while. So I have a question for you now. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to do this, but
No,
This is
that's
your-
the
this
format
is-
of the new show. So you're
Jesus.
good.
Jesus.
Wait, Eric. This is the format of the new show. The guests run the show, so you're in your lane right now. Run with it.
I
I'm
hope
telling
not.
you.
I've just been sitting here looking around.
because you're on the what do you call the throne in this place. You're killing it. So you talk about like working in schools with kids and speaking to them in ways like, is there something like that for I hate the word stuff. We call it actively aging, like the senior side, right? Because that's another whole world of they were in the Shakespeare, like Brandon talked about and stuff. Is there stuff that goes on to help, or not help is probably that's the wrong word for sure, but like do classes or stuff for poetry writing for older people?
Yeah.
Like
and
us.
You guys are all going to come to my poetry classes? That's what I just heard.
It's
you say.
adorable.
Yeah.
I know.
Brandon said yes.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually working on a workshop series here soon. There are tons of benefits to writing poetry. It's actually been studied in all different realms. It's been studied in the medical field. So I'm going to kind of utilize some of that stuff and try to make some more just kind of accessible to the public poetry classes that are more intended for, not just people who maybe want to be writers or want to be poets or lyricists or whatever. It's just people who want to try it, There are things like that exist. There are classes, there are open mics and writing circles, but there's not a whole lot of them in the area. So I want to add on to that. And
Because I just think what Brandon said, like when he was in school, because that was a long time ago, like people didn't like poetry. It was like the ich, right?
Yeah.
But so you grow out of it, or you grow up and you still have that because you may not have chased it or looked into it. But when you get older, the way everything's changed in the world, it kind of makes it so it's not a bad thing. And I hate to say it like that, but I mean, like Brandon said, when you were in high school or junior high, it's like, oh, poetry, oh man, blah, blah, blah. But it's like maybe the stigma can change to where when you're older, it's like, okay, I always wanted to check this out, but my buddies thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
I think the teachers were maybe giving us the wrong stuff in high school.
Well, I was going to ask earlier, I don't, like Shay, you talk about Shakespeare. I've never heard of this person, so
We could teach you later. Yeah.
That is a big part of it, though, what you're saying. There is a stigma surrounding it. I actually, 2 separate years, went to the Utah Conference for Teachers of English as a featured speaker and taught teachers how to teach poetry. Because of that, though, because a lot of teachers just don't teach it, or if they do teach it, they don't want to or know how because kids don't like it usually. And I want to change that because I think, actually, I've seen it. I know that kids like poetry as long as it's presented to them in a way that they can enjoy it.
So, Aric, not a poetry class, but my favorite class up at Weber State University was the one that I got the most out of was Brad Rogar took us, we would go for a hike it was like a Tuesday night, and then he would give us a prompt on the trail. We would hike up like Indian Trail, and he would give us a prompt. He'd say, I want you to look as close as you can at something and then write something about it. And then on Thursday, we would meet in class and write about it. And I thought it was fascinating because you would begin to see things differently while you were on the trail than you would just normally hiking. Angelika, did you do some of that at the event there, or how did you include the poetry with the trails?
Yeah, it was so much fun. Seriously, I keep saying that, but I loved it. We all met up. People were able to sign up for that specific hike earlier or all the way up until that morning. We all met up, and then we had a Goal Foundation volunteer at the front and the back of the group, and we all just started hiking. We chose a super beginner-friendly hike so that everybody could enjoy it. There was a lot of people with kids visiting our booth, so we wanted them to be able to go too. And then just kind of as a group, when someone would recognize we had stopped at a pretty spot, like we found one spot where this was really early in the morning, the sun was just shining through this group of trees. And so someone in the group was like, this will be a good place to stop. So we stopped, and we had poets with us that would read a couple of poems in that spot. And we all kind of as a group it wasn't planned where we were going to stop or really how long we were going to stop. It was just kind of a go with the flow kind of thing. And all we knew was that we had to be off of the trail at a particular time because the runs and stuff were starting, the bike races were starting. So we just kind of went with it, and it was great. And we had a very diverse group of people, all different ages. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Todd?
Were you there?
No.
I'm going to shake my hand at you.
Were you there?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
I'm shaking
my
my head.
You being there, Todd, either.
I was in Yellowstone.
Because that will never be there again.
Yeah.
It was their final weekend. They're having a blowout.
Yeah, blowout cell.
It was late in the season.
Tonka horns.
Yeah. Jeez.
Actually, didn't it flood like literally right after
It
that?
literally.
Before.
No, that was.
Oh,
in the
that was
spring.
before.
Yeah, that was in the
Okay.
spring. But where can we find out more about you, Angelika? How can people follow you and get to know your work and help support what you do?
So I have a page on the Ogden City site. What is that? Is that the right word?
That's
Like, there's
Ogden City Arts, I think.
on the Ogden
MySpace
City
or-
page, there's like a section for me there. And then I send them all my events and stuff that's coming up. You can go there. All of my social media is under signed AB, like my initials, because that's how I close out my emails and that's how I address my poetry.
Yeah.
It's all signed AB. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You can email me. It's just my first and last name at Gmail. Yeah.
Very good.
I have a website, but it sucks. Don't go look at it.
Okay, won't go there. All right.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal, and you're, let's just say, a few years younger than us. So when what are your ambitions? Like, what do you want? Where do you want to take poetry? Where do you want to take the English language? Like, what do you want
This
to?
really does lead into the question. Thank you.
Oh,
for
good. Yeah, I'm here for you. Yeah, sure.
laying
It's
it
the
out
layup.
and-
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And so this applies to the both of you. So, so we have a pretty good sense of your mission. So your day to day, right? And so that really does tie into the vision. You know, a vision as a poet, your vision with your organization. We could start with you, Angelika. It really does tie into what's the future plans.
Sure. So I have some really big goals and dreams, and then I have some kind of steps that I'll need to take to get there that will just continue. So I want to continue a lot of the things that I've already started working with youth. I want to expand on that and start working with adults a little bit more. I do work with adults. I do events for adults and with adult performers and everything. Adult performers.
I'm out.
Yeah. Let me rephrase. Adult poetry performers. I'm also really involved in the art scene in other areas. I am an art collector only of local artists and small business artists. My walls are covered ceiling to the floor all over the place. So I like to support visual arts, music, other areas of the art world. I eventually want to own a venue where I can host events and bring people together to create. I really like the idea of combining all these different forms of art together, and also people in the adventure side, because really they kind of go hand in hand. You know, nature has always existed in
Someone
both
should
of
start
those
a
places.
podcast that does that.
Yeah, you should.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So those are my
What's
my
your
kind of
What's your big goal again? Big goal.
My big goal is to own the venue.
Okay.
That's always been my dream. I've always been really inspired by Meow Wolf. Are you familiar?
Oh, I just saw that this weekend.
It's so much fun. Which one did you go to?
I didn't go in, but I was in Denver.
Oh.
In Boulder, I drove by and we were like, that looks cool. And
Yeah.
of course, social media always pegs you. And so Facebook brought up stuff. I'm like, that place is awesome. We didn't have time to go in, but
You have a chance. You should absolutely. That's
First time
a
I've seen it.
destination to do that.
oh, it absolutely looked like it. Like I've never heard of it, I'll be honest with you. But when we saw it, I was like, that's incredible. And then you saying it is even better.
Yeah, definitely go check at least one of them out. They're amazing. But I've always been really inspired by like immersive art like that. So ideally my venue would be like that too. We do events and stuff there, but you just want to create and do fun things the moment you walk in.
Aric, what's your vision?
When you say destination areas in Denver, I think Casa Bonitas. That's another.
Is that still around?
I think it is actually. I think they
My
saved
vision
it.
is to never go there again. Or to return to like being a teenager and go and
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
have
was
to
a
have that.
child when
Yeah.
I went, but yeah.
Well, as a kid, that place is magnificent.
Right, right.
You go as an adult, and it is a giant tourist trap.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Aric.
Casa Bonitas. Thanks
Casa
for bringing
Bonitas.
that
Yeah,
back.
anytime.
Wow.
Anytime,
I
yeah.
don't even know what that is.
Neither.
Roll my eyes at both of you.
The Mayan. You know the Mayan.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
similar.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Cliff divers and bad burritos.
Oh, there's nothing better than a bad burrito.
Yeah. All right. Big goals. Big goals, Aric.
That's a really tough one. Just because I think we do a lot of our big goals, which is, I call them legacy projects, Pineview Loop Pathway, finishing that. We're working on a big section now from Snowcrest Junior to Liberty Park, just to get kids active transportation safely on that road. Honestly, vision for me is just to keep doing what we're doing. I think we're in a really good place. My ultimate dream was where, if I close my eyes long enough, it's where all trail users just get along. Where when you're out on the trail,
Do you have those dreams?
I do, because I go out. I use the trails all the time, but you can go out for 3 hours and have the most magnificent experience and have a 30-second bad experience, and that's what you remember, right? And it's unfortunate. So I think for me, and that's why we did start, within the last year and a half, an education campaign that's more about, not like these are the rules or the laws, but just be a good person, and that's anywhere. But I think when people are out on the trails, no matter how they do it, you're kind of there for the same reason, right? I think, like what Angelika's saying, I mean, you can create in your head, you can get away, you can spend time with family. So for me, it's more about just enjoying nature without the negativity.
We were thinking about doing like being a good person podcast, but it sounded like a lot of just effing hard work, like just a lot of hard work. Because where do you start? I think that education is probably a good place, isn't it?
Well, it is, because you look at things, and I get the calls or the emails and the texts all the time, but trails, it's just like anything. If you don't know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm on a trail, I don't know who takes care of it, what property I'm on, who pays for it, how I'm supposed to act, what I'm supposed to do, that type of thing. So it just starts with education, because I think as a society, we just expect everybody to know everything, right? We just do. That's the way it is. You read stuff and hear stuff all the time we just have an expectation that you should just know things, and that's not the case, right? So I think for me, it is that, education component, and it's, maybe education's not the greatest word.
Give us some education right now. Like, who should yield to who?
Oh man,
Those people who bike really fast always should go first.
So see, and it's the opposite. Right?
No, I don't want to get hit.
Well, and that's the thing. But if you this is the big thing. Like, cyclists are like, well, if you would just let cyclists not yield, it's easier. But if you say, okay, if I'm on a bike and I don't have to yield, do you think you're going to go slow or care or pay attention more?
I'm going to haul ass.
That's true.
Exactly. And so then you're going to cause more accidents. And it, you hate to say it, but bikes, and I ride bikes, and my best friends ride bikes. They're killing machines to a degree, right?
Jeez.
I mean, they go fast
I'm
enough and hit a kid. You look at the Bonneville shoreline; those are urban trails. Families are out there with kids. People are out there with dogs on leashes. And if something goes too fast, there's going to be a problem one way.
I've seen the damage people do to themselves on bicycles.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think, you talk about etiquette is, think of it this way: the more feet on the ground has the right of way. So if there's a horse with 4 legs, they're first. People have walking on 2, bikes don't have feet on the ground. So that's kind of who should yield to who. And saying that, at the same time, it kind of goes back to being a good person and a good human, right? I'm a trail runner, so I have the right of way over mountain bikes if I'm on a trail. However, I'm okay with looking up and seeing a mountain bike coming at me and waving them on. If there's a safe spot for me to step off, hey, keep going. Enjoy your morning. It's fine, right? Mm-hmm. So, there is the etiquette thing, and it does get a little hairy. But I think at the end of the day, if you're just out on the trail enjoying your day and you're a good person, you're going to have a great experience, and you're going to give somebody else a great experience. Saying hi, being nice, be nice, say hi. It gives other people a good experience. I challenged my kids at one point. I took them on a hike, and we were walking on the shoreline. And I took them to the grocery store right after that. And I walked in and said, okay, what's the difference? Like, people on the trail were so much nicer. Because you don't walk down the grocery store aisle and say, hey, how you doing? Hey, nice job. Have a good day. Have a good morning. But you're on the trail, you hear it all the time, right? So it's just when you're out there, it's just a better experience.
If you want to get reactions, try that in the grocery store. I'll do that.
We did. We have.
Friendly nod.
But it's super funny.
I love doing the friendly nod, and I'll get a...
Yep.
What do you
questionable
think the
look on
reason
So
their
it's
face.
50-50 with me, and maybe it's me, but it's like, oh, creeper, right? But if you say hi, sometimes it's interesting to see their reaction. Sometimes they're kind of like, oh boy, but sometimes hey, how are you? There's a turkey sale on aisle 7.
This applies to being in a vehicle as well. Sort of that
Oh.
same little friendly nod or wave. This is what I do constantly. I'm sure that everyone in this trailer does the same thing, but there's plenty of people that do not, or they just. Like, I need a little, just give me eye contact, give me a look, a nod, a wave, anything that we're on the same page here.
Human interaction is sometimes what professionals call that, right? As opposed to, the cellular devices. Yeah. It's just lost. I complain more than anybody. I'm the get off my lawn guy with social media. Human interaction is the greatest thing in the world. And we're just too far from it now. So I always try to take that in a daily thing, and I get laughed at all the time, whether it's my family, whether it's the soccer team I coach. I'm just uber friendly sometimes, not to the annoying part, but it's sad. So way long tangent, but that's my vision, is just where people go on the trails and have a great experience, and regardless of what they're doing, bike, horse, dog, walk, run, adaptive riders, whatever it is, just be nice, be a good human. And you guys should do that podcast because it applies to every facet of
Positivity, some sort of positivity.
Yeah.
Bring that back again.
Well,
too much
I
negativity.
hear a good way to communicate with people is through a podcast, Aric.
I've heard that. I mean, I'm on one.
Yeah.
But I think we skipped over a portion of this. And since you guys told me the new format of the show and knowing kind of,
we told you after it started. Like, well into it.
but to see how quick I transition.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
What's the vision with you guys here
Yeah.
with this podcast? Because it's changed. It's episode 3 of a new podcast. You guys have been doing this longer than anybody I've known. You know, you're killing it. You're doing a huge thing. But what's the vision here? What's the vision?
I'm glad you asked because you're the first person who's asked. Right? Todd?
I asked you that one time.
Well, besides us.
Yeah.
What do we do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Have Aric ask us.
So I got bored after 10 years finally with Ogden Outdoor Adventure.
And you probably noticed I phoned it in like the last 6.5, 7 years. So I was ready for change as well.
Todd at the Top was worthless for 6 years.
Was he really on the top
This was-
at that point? Was he really Todd on the top?
Yeah, no, it was Todd in the
I
middle.
got the title
somewhere.
taken from me. That's what you were asking about earlier. Yeah.
It wasn't like he wanted it gone. It was better than Todd in the gutter.
So I wanted to restart.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Basically,
Yeah.
I wanted to restart.
I needed, but what I didn't want to do was do 2 to 3 hours of planning every week because it took that long to find all the events and everything. But it's hard to give up because you do something for that long and it's like, oh my gosh. And we debated over, Todd and I debated over keeping Ogden or not, because we wanted to do an arts and culture show. And we were passionate about both arts and adventure and how those combine. And we came to the conclusion that we believe this, and hopefully we're right, that we can use the name Ogden because that's where we are, that's where we podcast from, but that we can take it and travel. We can travel to Salt Lake, we can travel to Jackson, we can travel to Maine and do an Ogden Arts and Adventure Show from Maine and yet resonate with everyone because the basic arts and adventure theme is still there. So we'll see when we start like going outside of Ogden. We're starting local again, but we'll see if it travels. But that's sort of the idea. Todd?
And I think for the most part too, it's a little bit more archival, meaning that these are episodes that you could listen to at any time. A little bit less events based. Not that you can't count on every Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
So every Tuesday.
This is a great
Every Tuesday we're
format.
here from 5 to whenever we finish. We start setting up around 4:30. We have a drink. We hang out. We do have a live studio audience tonight, which is nice.
Everyone's
Thank you.
invited, by the way.
But
Yeah.
this is the point too, is that I think we start establishing Tuesday, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Who's available? Swing by, have a drink, listen to the show live. And then, come join the show if you want to. That's always up there too.
Yeah.
And then obviously you'll notice a little bit looser. We want to get to know you better. And we also want our listeners to get to know us better. I think our friends know us pretty well, but I don't know how much our listeners have got.
Do you know my mom
us.
mentioned today, she was at my house and she said, I didn't know that's why you used R. I mean, I thought that was the reason you used R in your name, but that was good to hear coming from you. I didn't know. So see, even my mom learned something.
So why do you use R?
We have to listen to the last show.
Yeah, you got to go back and listen.
Yeah. So it's
That's an episode.
I don't have internet.
There's only
I don't have the intranet. So
all right. I'm sure.
I hate to tell you that, but also on our YouTube, I just started a new. So there's the full episodes, and then there's the adventure guests. So you'll have your own segment, Aric, and then there's the arts guests. So you'll have your own segment, Angelika. After
That one will
when I
kill
edit
it.
this, yep, and then you that way, like you said, Todd, it's sort of archival, so you can go to the YouTube and just look at all these arts interviews or adventure interviews.
that's really cool.
See what you-
And the
see
arts
what-
part, that's
yeah.
a big part of it too. And so, as you know, we are just as integrated into the arts as we are into the outdoor adventure side. And so it seems silly not to be able to, because if you ever listen to the show, we'd still occasionally cover art stories, but it wasn't technically under the umbrella. And so now we're open to talk about just about anything. So
I think it's a home run. I do. Because
Coming from you, I appreciate that.
No, Angelika said it just absolutely perfectly. I mean, the two go hand in hand. They really do. And three, right? Ogden, arts, adventure. All three of those, it's like the same thing.
well,
That's
12
what
years ago, we copyrighted, trademarked every form of Ogden Arts and Adventure, just so you know. So if you start, no, I'm just kidding. But it is
we
one of
did
those
none of
things where
that.
I think that all of us in that community knows that the worlds are very integrated.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And
Right.
I think you hit it too, and I'm going to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
knowing the hosts, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the friends know you.
Mm. Yeah.
But what about the listeners? It's like, I don't know what R stands for still, and I don't know, how to pronounce your last name properly, right? So by going into that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's a great thing.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
plan
stuff
on
we
saying-
already covered.
Yeah, and I plan on saying Oberndorfer at least 5 times per
Oberndorfer.
episode.
Yep.
Oberndorfer.
Oberndorfer.
Yeah, you'll
Terrace.
get it. You're going to get it one of these
Terrace.
Yeah.
You have arts news?
Yeah, well, I do. I want to hit on a couple of things.
This will be real quick because we
And
got to
this
bump
is
out.
the human
Yeah.
interaction portion. This is
Okay.
a little segue for that, right? And so the press release for the Ogden's Holiday Traditions came out this week, right? And this applies to a handful of events that are going to be happening very, very soon. It is such a fabric of the community. In fact, when I say Christmas Village, I think everybody knows Christmas Village. I would hope at this point. If you don't, you have left the state for a few months.
You're in
Even if
Maine.
you haven't been there, you're familiar with it. I tried to find out what year are they celebrating this year.
I don't know.
Is it 60? Is that out of the? Okay, can you double?
I honestly don't know. Yeah.
Because it's a big year. Yeah, it's 60, and you're like
60.
75 years.
Wait, for what? The parade or the
No,
whole
for-
thing?
for the village.
The
for
village.
Christmas.
Christmas Village? All right, let me Google.
Is celebrating an event. Okay, so Christmas Village will light up downtown Ogden Municipal Gardens. You know where that is, downtown on 25th Street, beginning November 26th after the Holiday Electric Light Parade. The annual holiday display in Ogden will feature activities and entertainment until December 23rd, and the cottage lights will be available to view until January 2023. Cottages, sponsors, and created by the community will turn the historic downtown into a nightly vision of Santa's Village. If you haven't been there before, that's the idea on this. You've been over there, haven't you?
Where is this?
Have you not walked around?
All the time.
Yeah, you know it.
It's a tradition.
Do you have a house down there?
And I have a house over on 20th.
No,
Oh,
in the village.
I
Oh,
want
the
to.
village
I
house.
Love
want
the
to.
trails to
I
have a little
want
house.
to.
That'd be amazing.
I
yeah.
want to.
Can we do a house together? I'm obsessed with miniature things.
I love miniature things.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, we should do it.
It's so cute.
I think you got to get on.
By the
list
way,
and a
it's
wait
the
list.
number one sales gift. You know how like every year for Christmas is like the hottest toy? The hottest toy this year are the miniatures. The
because
miniatures.
they're
Yeah.
awesome. And I've been on this wave for a very long time. I'm happy everyone else is finally joining me. Because
Trendsetter.
miniature things, I know, right? I'm a hipster. I'm fun. No, miniatures are just so cute. Anyway, okay.
Miniatures are super cute. So the
Carry on.
theme for Christmas Villages here is Shine Bright, and an ornament in the shape of a diamond hides in the cottages. So it's like a little treasure hunt. You try to find these.
Wait, what is it?
And so this is the
Diamond.
theme to the Christmas Village festivities this year is Shine Bright.
This.
And an ornament in the shape of a diamond is hidden in each of the cottages for visitors to find as they explore the displays.
Has
did
that
that?
always been a thing?
It has been a thing.
Yeah, there's always
And
a theme.
that's really what a lot of people really scour those windows.
Some hide better than others. Some are pretty lame.
I had
Put some
no
Some are
effort.
just
idea.
straight, right?
Yeah, put some effort in if you got a house, or give it
All
up.
these years, I didn't even know.
All right, so we also have the Santa Run, the Holiday Electric Light Parade, and the Christmas Village Opening Gala. This happens November 26th. What other dates do we need? The Santa Run will begin at 4:30, beginning near 22nd and Washington Boulevard. The Santa Runners will travel on the opposite side of traffic, which is probably good. Yeah. I like they included that in this.
This is well
And
thought
run
through.
south to 28th Street and then come back to 26th Street if you want to see those. The
Mom,
holiday.
why are the Santas on the side of the road?
It's a whole new type of race.
Oh man. Okay.
The Holiday Electric Light Parade will promptly begin at 5:30 p.m., lighting up the parade route starting on 22nd Street and heading south along Washington Boulevard to 27th Street. What else do you need to know here? Check out this. It is a thorough press release. Breakfast with Santa. When's that happen? Will be hosted at the Ogden Union Station on December 10th. So keep an eye out for that if you want to meet up with Santa and Mrs. Claus. Reservations are required, I guess, for some of that. And then there's some information on this press release, and maybe we can link this as far as making donations to support Christmas Village. So
I
we'll all
can't
be
find the
down there
day.
at
I
some
looked
point.
at 3 different articles. I can't find any significance.
I don't know why
this
60 stuck in my head, but
Ace with Standard Examiner shared the
Oh, yeah.
celebration year
Yeah.
on Facebook a couple of days ago.
year. Okay.
I don't remember what it
Okay.
said, However, I know that they.
Can you look up
posted it.
Facebook Ace Magazine? See if that pulls up. Very good. Okay.
All right, please share.
Yeah. Adventure updates. Bullfrog out of water. That is the Bullfrog Marina in Lake Powell is now below the point where any houseboat or big boat can use it. And if it drops 4 more feet, then no boat can use it. And so you are off limits there in Bullfrog in Lake Powell. I thought that was interesting. When work parties go wrong, Vail Resorts ordered to pay $2.25 million to a Park City woman for injuries sustained at an employee party. Yes, a former Park City, Utah resident has been awarded $2.25 million from Vail Resorts after suffering injuries during a wild and crazy Park City Mountain Resort bowling party. Amy Herzog was an employee at Jupiter Bowl, where PCMR was holding an employee party in 2019. The lawsuit claims that some employees were bowling recklessly, and while fixing a lane, Herzog was struck by a bowling ball and thrown by PCMR employee Joe Ellis. The ball struck her left hand, resulting in injuries that have since required 3 surgeries and the loss the loss of the full use of her hand. So she didn't lose her hand; she just lost the full use of her hand. So basically, lost her hand.
So who'd she sue?
And she sued Vail Resorts, and and the jury took 90 minutes, and they said, "All right, Vail Resorts." She asked for $1 million, and they said no, pay her 2.25.
I need them to negotiate my raise.
Bowling goes bad.
That is sweet bowling alley settlement money.
All right, Columbia Outdoor Sports Tire Company announces the Star Wars Clone Wars winter collection. So they do Star Wars collections from time to time. In 2022, it is the Clone Wars edition. So they have jackets, a hoodie, and a hat. If you're
so you can look like all your friends. That's the clone part.
I'm kind of geeking out about it. It's good looking stuff, actually.
I was about ready to say, do you have friends?
I wish I had it all. But it's expensive. So the Republic parka, $500. The Ashoka Tona jacket is $414. And the Republic heavyweight pullover is $140. Now listen, we sell our Van Sessions hats for like $20, $25. But the Republic ball cap is $40. It's just that's called branding, folks. That's called a lesson in marketing.
Here it goes. Star Wars Banyan collection. It's very close.
We're right below. Right below. Yeah. And then we already talked about take your little brother to work day. So we already covered that.
And we are going to have to include a link to the Christmas markets. It's too long.
Yeah, we did that. Okay. Angelika, Aric, thanks so much for being here with us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Thank you to Banyan One for powering today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. Listen and subscribe to the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is the original YouTube channel we set up for Ogden Outdoor Adventure. It has like 19 subs. You could be the 20th. You
want to be one of the first. You want to say, I remember when.
Yeah, I remember when.
Yeah.
Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, thebanyancollective.com, the Podbean app for Android. So, we have a Van Sessions that is so fresh, it won't be out for another hour. So those of you here, it's brand new, but it's already, the podcast is out.
Oh, you're posting it later.
Videos, but you can hear it right now because we're going to play it. We're going to play it for you because this is, thank you, Angelika, for the, I think you mentioned that, you recommended Fawcett. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he killed it. And
did he do a podcast, like a separate interview, or just the one from Van Sessions when he performed? Okay.
Yeah.
I
This is a song
from
Van Sessions. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Oh wait, I had it pulled up here and then I screwed it all up because I got out of it. So we'll pull it up again. But yeah, this is Wolf from Fossen. So this is the first cut of his. So he did 4 songs and we release each one individually. The first one releases tonight, which is Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm interested to see how well it does because it's Thanksgiving week, and we'll see. And then the full episode on Saturday. But he killed it. And now these songs, podcast version style, got to admit, it takes a minute because he's setting it up because he loops everything. So when you're listening to it on the podcast, you're like, what's going on? But if you watch him on the video on YouTube,
Eric, you're gonna have to
super
watch this
interesting.
so you know what we're talking about.
I'm gonna
with
borrow your
looping.
password
Yeah.
on your internet.
You could Van Sessions
The
YouTube
kids
page.
loop the
Yeah.
music now. It's looping. I learned about it.
Yeah,
It's a whole new episode.
Yeah, so this is Wolf by Foss and Van Sessions at the Monarch. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, I've been living like a lone wolf, howling at the moon. Nobody hit my line at midnight or by noon. I've been pacing through the street late, I'll be there soon. No telling where I'm going, but I know I have to move. Two truths and a lie, we need the pack to stay kicking. Nobody came looking for me when I went missing. Somebody came clean to me, told me, kid, listen. Make apologies, you know things could be different. Things change, we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact though. Things change, we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact though. Yeah. Things change and we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact. Drifting like an old ghost, longing for my home. Never really did settle, but always had a place to go. Went back to the apartment where the homies used to blow smoke. Hoping it was those dopes welcoming me home. But it seems they moved on, so I kept my shoes on. As my soul stepped to the beat of a new drum. I guess I knew some morning I would wake up lonely. Yeah, 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 yeah. Things change and we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact though. Yeah. Things change and we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact though. Things change and we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact though. Things change and we grow, I don't fault that. Things break and I know I can't stop that. These days I don't miss all the contact though.